Welcome to Hips and Knees Performance 103. We're going to start today with some clamshells. So clamshells are normally done with a band. Think about a clam, it opens its shell, closes its shell. It's a hip movement. And you're going to kind of lay on the side, kind of like you're posing for a magazine, all right? That bottom hand can just be relaxed as you see, and the top hand is kind of supporting you off the ground. Now, as we do this, you really need to keep your core and your pelvis locked in. I don't want you leaning with your torso. You're just going to be using your hip joint to be doing the motion. So from here, the girls are just gonna pin their feet together, the kind of sides of their feet, and they're gonna open their knee, their top knee, away from their bottom knee, going up as high as they can without leaning back with the torso. Keep that core tight, and then they're gonna come back down. So you wanna get to the tippy top, make a big squeeze. You should feel it in your glutes, your high glutes. Get a nice big squeeze at the top, hold for about 2 seconds, and you can come back down. But really be honest with yourself on if you're leaning with your torso or not. So we're gonna do 10 repetitions on this side. Then we're going to turn over and do 10 repetitions on the other side. You can use the ground for support or kind of for leverage to guide yourself so that you're able to stay more active as you do this. They're doing an excellent job of controlling their core and their torso, making sure not to have any extra movement. But we want 10 reps again, and make sure you have a nice big squeeze at the top. You can kind of use your feet to leverage as well and push from your foot to help get a bigger range of motion perhaps. Awesome. Now we can flip over and we're going to get 10 reps on the other side. Same exact thing. Spin around, whatever. I mean, flip, spin, turn, whatever works. Just don't kick your sister in the head. All right, so knees are bent at about 90 degrees, back behind you a little bit. There's a little bend in the knees there. Awesome. All right, feet are pushed together, arm is supporting opposite arm, and here we go. Driving the knees apart, getting a nice big squeeze at the top, holding, keeping the core and hips tight. Don't want the hips to lean at all. Just want to stay locked in and neutral. We're gonna do 10 repetitions here for the clamshell. If you wanted to, another added bonus you could get in here is thinking about flexing your side abs or your obliques, like you're almost trying to create an arch off the ground with your abs or pinch them in. And that just kind of just gives you an added benefit of working more muscles as you do this. From here, we're going to move into another movement that is still in the same exact position, but our knee is going to be elevated off the ground. And we're going to move the hip into internal and external rotation. So it's a little different than the clamshell, but still working similar muscles. So here the girls are elevating their knees, or their whole entire leg off the other leg. And almost like you're using the knee motion, the knee to drive the motion, we're going to internally rotate, and then we're going to externally rotate. So we'll do it on my tempo. You're good, go ahead. Okay, so knees are up and ready. And make sure that this knee stays in line with this knee. There you go. So there she is, she's internally rotating. And you can come back to neutral. And then we're going to externally rotate, which is kind of like the clamshell you just did. Yep. Then you're going to internally rotate, pushing that knee down, driving that foot up. Good. And then externally rotate. There you go. And try to keep those hips and abs nice and neutral. Internally rotate, driving up, hold, and externally rotate. And you're externally trying to drive the knee up. Yep, just like the clamshell. There you go. And internal. And external, and internal, external. Good. All right, spin around, switch sides. As you do this, it is absolutely imperative that you keep your core tight. So if your core is flopping and slopping around, you're losing the purpose of trying to isolate the hip and make the hip do the stabilization and the work. So isolate the core so that that energy and strength can translate to the hip and you can have hip control. So here we go again. Make sure you really lock in that core, lock in those hips, elevate the leg off. Let's start with internal rotation, foot up, hold, keep that core tight, good. External rotation, don't lean too far back, don't force it, there you go. Internal, holding, external, and internal. Good, keep those knees in line with each other, external. Don't want to float the top leg too much. Internal. Your knees should still be mirroring each other, just floating over top. External. One more of each. Internal. Holding. External. And relax. Good work. All right, so those were our 2 different clamshell variations. Now we're gonna get into a plank and knee movement. So we're in a good plank position. Wrists are in line with our shoulders. We're stacked here. We're elongated. We are driving through the shoulders and pulling shoulder blades down. So I'm not up here in my traps, I'm pulling them down. From here, I'm gonna take my knee and reach across my body without turning my body. So I'm trying to reach as far as I can and make contact and come back. Reach as far as I can and make contact and come back. I almost feel nauseous. I'm trying so hard to make contact with my elbow. You may or may not make contact, but we're trying to get that hip flexion. They're trying to drive that hip up. It's core, yes, but it's also control and strength of the hip and knee. So here we go. You can go ahead and get in your plank position. Yeah, long ways is fine, that's perfect. All right, so let's check our plank checkpoints. Wrists in line with shoulders, step your feet back. Drive through the floor a little bit so you have active shoulders and draw your shoulder blades down away from your ears. All right, take that right knee and try to drive it up towards your left elbow. Good, and back. We're gonna hold for about 2 seconds in each position. Other one, reach, hold, back. Remember, keep yourself square. Try not to drop the hips or turn the torso. Reach, back. Good, good effort. It's all about effort and you're trying as hard as you can, driving with that knee. Reach, driving the knee, driving the knee. There you go. Back. And reach, driving up, driving up, driving up. Good, good, good. Back. And reach, holding, holding, back, and relax. That is our plank and knee reach. We're gonna do another set of that. Let's give them a little bit of rest here. How those feel?
Good. You're stretching my hips.
Yeah, all right, I love it. All right, let's hop back into it. Here we go. Plank position, wrists under your shoulders, walk your feet back. Good, set the shoulders, drive through, pull down, and reach, hold, back. As you reach, keep those elbows locked. We do not want the elbows to bend. Keep the arms engaged. Reach, good, keep the elbows locked, back, and reach, back, and reach, elbows locked, driving to the floor, holding, back, good work, reach, driving and holding, good, back, reach, knee up, knee up, knee up, knee up, knee up, back, one more, last one, reach, drive that knee, drive that knee, drive that knee, and relax. Nice work. Last one we have for today is a half kneeling hinge. So we're gonna be in this half kneeling position. So one leg is kneeling, one is not. And we're gonna pull from our glutes, from our butt, we're gonna pull ourselves to standing, squeeze as tight as I can with that butt so I get a nice stretch through my quad. And then I'm gonna find the floor again. So we're working on our hip hinge. This also stretches this hamstring and glute and hip. So it's a strengthening, stretching, stabilizing type motion. So go ahead and choose a leg to have forward, doesn't matter to me. Very good, hands are on the floor. So they are going to flex from the knee that is up, that hip is gonna be pulling them into a vertical position. So go ahead, use that hip, pull yourself up. When you get to the top, squeeze the butt as tight as you can. Squeeze, 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 get a nice stretch, and then come back to the floor, nice and easy. And squeeze, coming up. Hinging up, they're staying in line, staying tight. We have the hands like this because we're keeping our shoulders and arms engaged, and then now we're coming back to the floor. So the knee that's on the ground, you should feel it in that butt that I'm really squeezing, and that butt is elevating me up. Again, raising up, squeezing up, squeezing up, squeezing up. When you get to the top, fully engaged, like you're trying to drive the hips through, and come back down. Last one on this side, squeezing up, nice and easy, nice and slow, pushing through the knees, squeezing with the hips, driving all the way through, holding, and let's switch. Make sure that your knee is directly under your hip. So if you have it too far back, it might feel different. So you want to have that knee right under your hip. It's kind of a tighter stance, and that's how we want that to look. Here we go, squeezing up from the hip. Holding, squeezing, yep, letting the hips kind of push through. Coming back to the ground, nice and easy. Coming up. Squeeze in, full extension, nice and vertical. Good, back down. And squeezing up. Using that hamstring, using those glutes, getting those hips involved, stretching that quad, back down. And up. Good, back to the ground. As an added bonus, if you wanted to, so in this position, they could bend their elbows and try to get deeper in that stretch and try to go lower. And it's just an awesome stretch position because you're kind of hitting things from different angles that you don't normally do. So that's another added bonus for this position if you were to do it outside of these videos. But that concludes our hips and knees 103 for today. Thank you for joining us.